Hello everyone, I am Anusha, working as a degree lecturer in computer science. In this video I am going to give a presentation on operating system and its functions. Okay, so let's start our session. In this session I am going to explain what is an operating system and where exactly this operating system is fits inside a computer architecture. Okay, so let's start. So from the definition, an operating system is the most important software that runs on a computer. It manages the computer's memory and processes as well as all of its software and hardware and controls the execution of all kinds of programs. Okay, so we can also say that an operating system acts as an interface between a user and hardware. Okay, so it is creating an interface between the user as well as the hardware. So from the image you can see that an operating system is playing a vital role in between user as well as hardware. So what is the mean by a software? A software is a set of instructions or a set of programs that can be run by the hardware. Okay, so hardware means all the tangible devices, we can call it as a hardware, like mouse, keyboard, monitor, CPU. These all things comes into the hardware type. Okay, so the software which is used to give life to a hardware. Here the software, it is what it is doing means it is giving the life to the hardware, and it is also giving the instructions what type of a work can be done by the hardware. Okay, so on overall an operating system is creating an interface between user as well as the hardware. Why? Because a user can understand only the high level languages like English like language we can understand. We can't able to give the instructions in the form of binary language. The binary language means the hardware itself, itself can understand only the binary language. It is used to translate our language into the binary language, that is zeros and ones. So we can't say what is 0 and what is 1. Depending on the places, it use zeros and ones only. Okay, so the sentences which is framed by using zeros and ones, we can't able to translate in our language. So here what it will do means it will take the help of an operating system and it will translate the high level language into the machine language as well as the machine language into the high level language. Okay, here one main thing we have to remember that we are not directly speaking with or talking with an operating system. We are taking the help of an application software. So mainly I already said that a software is a set of programs. Okay, so how many types of softwares are existing? How many types of softwares are there? Okay, so totally two categories are there. The first type is application software and second type is system software. So the system software means the different types of system softwares are available, like utility softwares, we can call it as a softwares, means system softwares, as well as the system development software, that is also called as a system softwares. Means it will do that the hardware whenever we are installing this type of drivers or utility softwares, it makes the hardware to work. Okay, it makes the hardware to work. So what is this application softwares? Application softwares means nowadays we are using regularly a number of softwares. So you can see on your mobile also, any device you can take, a tablet or a mobile phone or a laptop, you will find this application softwares on the devices. Okay, let's take one example, like I am using MS Office, right? MS Office tool or Adobe, or I am taking Zoom app, like I am just recording the video now, so I am taking the help of X recorder, right? So this is one of the application software. So by using the application software, the user can interact directly to the system. So here the user is providing some task to the system by using application softwares. So web browsers or MS Office tools or any other apps that you are using on your mobile phone, you have a number of apps that all those apps are comes under application software. Okay, so we don't know how the mobile is working, right? So we are just opening some app and sending some messages to so and so person. So this is happening from my end. Okay, so internally what it is happening means the application software is sending the instructions in the form of commands. Okay, it will convert that instruction, it will convert that message into the binary form. It will take the charge, means the operating system, it is taking the instructions from the application software and converting into the machine language. Okay, and whenever the machine is sending some output to the user, what the operating system will do means it will take the output from the machine and it will convert the binary language into the high level language, which is understandable by the user. Okay, so overall the operating system is making interface between the users and the hardware. Okay, next, from the computer architecture. So here it is a computer architecture. From this we can identify where exactly the operating system is fitting inside. Okay, so let's take the image. So user 1, user 2 up to user n. So these level user 1 to user n, that level all the users will exist. They are using some sort of softwares to interact with the machines. There is 3 levels. One is hardware, another one is software, and another one is user level. Okay, so user is interacting with the hardware. Hardware means it may be a CPU, RAM or input output devices or a computer unit. Okay, so user is interacting with the hardware with the help of, in between who is existing, the software. All types of softwares will be existing on this. Okay, so to run a device, it is a most important software. Means to run any electronic device there is a need of an operating system. Why we need an operating system means it is giving a life to a device and also it allows other software applications to run on operating system. It will allow other software applications to run on it. Okay, so that we are installing a number of softwares in our laptop or a desktop or a mobiles. Okay, so here a user 1 is giving some instructions to the hardware in between with the help of application softwares, or the user is asking some input output devices help. Okay, some resource. So at that moment it will awake. Okay, so the operating system will take the instructions from the system software or the application software and it will convey the same message to the hardware. Okay, so I can say that without an operating system no device will work. Okay, so that is the last statement I want to say. In the overall computer architecture, this is the main portion. Operating system, it is playing a vital role. It is taking the instructions from the user and it is also conveying the message to the hardware, as well as vice versa. It is taking the message from hardware and it is conveying the same message in the form of high level language to the user. Okay, next. Then what are the functions? There are number of functions that operating systems can be performed. So on any device, the computer system depends on an operating system. So just before I told that without an operating system there is no device. No device will work. Okay, so there are many functions the operating system is doing. So one by one we will discuss. So the first one is memory management. Okay, So a memory management. What is a memory? Memory means the storage location where the instructions is stored. So from the definition of computer, I want to explain one thing. What is the definition of computer means? It is an electronic device which takes inputs and process it, and even it will store the data. None of the other electronic devices stores the data other than the computer. Okay, so computer is storing the data for future purpose also. For processing the data also, it is storing some information. Okay, so it is taking the input, it is processing the input, then it is storing the information inside itself, and whenever the user required, it also displays the output. Okay, so here the memory management, that means every device, means the computer or mobile or a laptop is having some storage location, some memory portion. So from the computer we have two types of memories. First one is called as a primary memory and second one is called as a secondary memory. Okay, so primary memory has been divided into three types. So we can call as a ROM, RAM and cache. Virtual memory, we can also call it as virtual. So ROM, read only memory, and RAM, so we can call it as a main memory also. So memory management is a process of controlling and coordinating computer memory, assigning portions known as blocks to various running programs to optimize the overall performance of the system. Okay, so here the operating system is performing a memory management, means it is deciding the locations, the storage location where to store a certain information, where to get a certain information, how much space it is occupied by a particular process. Okay, so here the user is providing some sort of task and the operating system is deciding where to store that information inside the location, storage location. Okay, so the memory is divided into equal sized blocks so that it can access very easily, and it is also having the addresses, the location addresses. Through that it can access the part of the instructions. Okay, so this memory management can be done by the operating system with different types of techniques. So I just took the techniques. The operating system is used to maintain. Okay, while maintaining the memory, it is used to perform this type of techniques. Okay, so like paging, segmentation, partition, allocation, fragmentation and swapping. So these are the techniques used by our operating system whenever the memories are allocated and deallocated. So why use memory management? Okay, so why operating system is having a memory management as one of the function? Means it provides a fast storage that can be accessed directly by the CPU. For a program to be executed, it must in the main memory. So that is the main point. Means every process or any program that is used to execute by the computer, it must be available within the main memory so that it can execute the process. Okay, so an operating system does the following activities for memory management. Okay, so whenever the user is asking to open some program or they are loading a program from the secondary storage devices, okay, so the active running mode, the present active programs which are going to execute the present active programs, those are coming into the main memory. From disk to a main memory it will take. Okay, so it will keep tracks of primary memory, what part of it are in use by whom, what part are not in use. Okay, it is not only checking the actively portions, it is also go thorough with the primary memory, the entire memory locations which are used, present the portions, storage locations which are in use and which not in use, it will verify. Okay, so it will verify in case of multi-programming in the sense, whenever the present task is assigned by the user to the processor. So in multi-programming, what happens, the programs or the process which is required with some sort of resources, at that moment they will wait for some time. Okay, so they will wait in the queue for some time. So at that moment what happens means, this operating system, it will swap that block type of task or blocked process. Okay, waiting mode lo unna process ni em chestundi ante swapping chesestundi ekkadiki, from main memory to disk. Okay, so some amount of time it will kept into the disk. So whenever the user is requested for the process, or once time out అయిన తర్వాత ఇదేం చేస్తుంది, డిస్క్ నుంచి మళ్ళీ మెయిన్ మెమరీకి లోడ్ చేసుకుంటుంది. ఎందుకు, రిమైనింగ్ టాస్క్ అనేది కంప్లీట్ చేయడానికి. ఓకే, సో అలా ఈ డిఫరెంట్ టెక్నిక్స్ని ఇది వాడుకుంటుంది. లైక్ స్వాపింగ్ కావచ్చు, ఫ్రాగ్మెంటేషన్ కావచ్చు, పేజింగ్ కావచ్చు, రైట్. So these are the techniques that can be used to maintain this memory. So in multi-programming, the OS decides which process will get and how much time it used to get the processor. Okay, how much time it has to reside in the memory locations like main memory or the disk storage. Okay, it also allocates the memory when a process requests it to do so. So the disk storage. Okay, it also allocates the memory when a process requests it to do so. So whenever the new process is coming to the operating system, it allocates some portion of memory locations from the main memory as well as the disk. Okay, so it will take three different types of addresses it will take. And it will also deallocates the memory when a process no longer needs, and it will terminate. Okay, so here what it will do means, the allocated memory for a certain program, if it is not in use for a long period of time, then it will identify those holes. Okay, those locations it will identify, and it will remove all those information or the data from the memory, and it will free up the spaces for the further use memory, and it will free up the spaces for the further use. Okay, for further process to execute. So this is all about the memory management. And next function is device management. Okay, so a device management is another function which can be performed by an operating system. So an operating system manages device communication via their respective drivers. It does the following activities for device management. Okay, so here the device management means what? Whatever devices that can be connected to the computer. Like you can take input devices or output devices. Input, from the image you can see that input devices we can call keyboard, optical pen, joystick, scanner, barcode reader. Okay, we can call it as input devices, as well as output device. There are many output devices like headphones or headset, screen, laser printer, inkjet printer or plotter, and speakers. These are output devices. So whenever we are attaching some sort of input or output devices to our system, it will give a reminder to the user. So some devices attached to the computer, or whenever the user is asking to print some book or a number of pages, it used to send the command in the form of, it is used to send the command send చేస్తుంది. Okay, every printer ki. Okay, so the printer, then the printer will respond on the command. So what the operating system is doing means, depends on the user requirement. User is requesting some input device, or user is requesting some output devices. So whenever the request is sent to the operating system, it is communicating with a certain device. Okay, whether it is input or output, some circuits also there, right? So that IO controller toni interact avutundi, and it is also keep tracks of the all the devices. అంటే డివైసెస్ ఎప్పుడు కనెక్ట్ అయి ఉన్నాయి, ఎంత టైం కనెక్ట్ అయి ఉండాలి, ఆ ప్రాసెస్ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్లో ఏ రిసోర్స్ని రిక్వైర్మెంట్ అడుగుతుంది, సో ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఇది హ్యాండిల్ చేస్తుంది. ఓకే, సో ఇట్ విల్ keeps track of all devices. Program responsible for this task is known as the IO controller. Okay, so the operating system, it is sending the commands or sending the instructions to the IO controller. Okay, what IO controller will do means, it will attach the certain, or it will awake the certain input output devices to work for the user, and decides which process gets the device when and for how much time. It is also deciding means the job which is given by the user, it is in a queue in front of the CPU, right? So the processor, whenever the job is in front of the processor, the OS will decide which task should be executed, whether the task is required with some IO devices or not. Okay, if it is required with some sort of device, then it will awake that it will send the message in the form of commands, okay, to the device. Then the device will awake for this to execute this process. Okay, then monitor the status of all devices, including storage drives, printers and other peripherals. Okay, so monitor the status of all devices, whatever the device is connected to the computer or the device. Okay, so it will check on the status, whether the device is working fine or not. It will keep on checking. Okay, and including storage drives, printers and other peripheral parts. Okay, and allocates the device in the efficient way. It also allocates the device in an efficient way. Okay, and deallocates devices. So here it is not only allocating the devices, it is also, once the task is completed, it is also disconnecting or deallocating the devices. Okay, allocates the device in the efficient way. It also allocates the device in an efficient way. Okay, and deallocates devices. So here it is not only allocating the devices, it is also, once the task is completed, it is also disconnecting or deallocating the devices. Okay, okay, so next function is a device management. Okay, so this is also one of the function of a device, operating system, that is device management. Okay, so an operating system manages device communication via their respective drivers. It does the following activities for device management. Okay, So what it will do means, an operating system, it is connecting a different parts of the IO devices. Like there are number of input and output devices, which is we are having number of input output devices, and whenever we are connecting an input output device to our system with the help of IO controller, it will take the commands, okay, instructions తీసుకుంటుంది. So not only whenever we are connecting the devices, when the task is required with some sort of resources, then this operating system send the message to the device. Now the program needs your help, okay, like that. So operating system is keep on sending messages whenever the task is required with some sort of resources, okay. So with the help of IO controller, the device can be connected to the system to execute a certain process, and it decides which process gets the device when and for how much time. Not only getting connected with the devices, it is also deciding what device should it connect, and for how much time the process it is taking, okay. To execute the process, how much time it takes for getting connected to the IO devices, okay. And monitor the status of all devices, including storage drives, printers and other peripherals. So it also monitors the status of the connected devices, okay, and allocates the device in the efficient way, and deallocates the devices. Once the job is done by the device, then it will deallocate the devices, okay. So the next one is process management. So this is one more function that can be performed by an operating system. Mostly in multiprocessor or multi-programming environment, we can see that an operating system decides which process to get executed. So the operating system decides which process gets the processor when and for how much time. So the operating system will decide what process to be executed and which process to be kept aside for some time, okay. So there are different types of tasks in front of the processor, okay. Some task is requesting for resources, or some task is requesting for only the processor time. So what can be done by for executing these processes? So what it can be done? So it will be decided by whom? Operating system, okay. So this function is called as a process scheduling, and we can call it as CPU scheduling also. So there are number of scheduling processes. So through that scheduling processes, the operating system is used to execute the different types of process, okay. What is a process means? The running program is called as a process, okay. So in the munde anukunnamu, what is a program means? It is a set of statements ani, or set of instructions anesi. So before compiled or before interpreter, it is called as a program. So once the program is handed over to the processor, it is called as a process, okay. So operating system will do the following activities that keeps tracks of processor and status of process. The program responsible for this task is known as traffic controller, okay. What program is called as a traffic controller means? The task which is in a queue waiting for a processor time, okay. So here operating system, what it is doing means, it is keeping track of all the processors. Different types of processors is coming in front of the processor. So it will decide which process should execute, okay, and how much time it has to take, and how when to take the processor time and what type of resources it has to allocated. Okay, so all these things can be decided by an operating system. So allocates the processor to a process. Okay, so it will allocate the processor timing to a particular process and deallocates processor when a process is no longer required. So once the process is completed or once the processor is in a blocked mode or waiting mode, then it will deallocate the processor and it will give chance to another process. Okay, there are 5 modes a processor life cycle. A process life cycle is having the 5 modes: newborn state, okay, ready mode, running mode, waiting mode, and exit or a terminate mode. Okay, so these are the 5 modes a process having. Okay, so a process while taking the time of processor, it is in a running mode. Okay, if it is waiting in a queue or it is waiting for some sort of resources, then it is in waiting mode or a blocked mode. Okay, so what is the purpose of CPU scheduling? Means process scheduling, processor management. What is the main purpose? Means operating system, why it is taking the different types of schedulings. Okay, so depends on the task, it will perform different types of schedulings like round robin scheduling and FC, okay, first come first serve, okay, like that. So these are the few examples. Proper utilization of CPU. Since the proper utilization of CPU is necessary, therefore the OS makes sure that the CPU should be as busy as possible. So here, to utilize the CPU time very efficiently, the operating system, what it is doing means it is performing some sort of scheduling processes. Okay, for example, two processors came at the same time to get the processor time, but one task is required with one resource. Okay, then what is the need of waiting? The processor, what is the need of waiting to execute P1 process? It can give the time to P2, right? So it is required with some resource. At that moment, it can give the time of processor to the next process. Okay, so like that, CPU time, it does not wait. It will use the proper utilization of CPU. Maximum utilization of CPU can be done with the help of this scheduling processes. So since every device should get a chance to use a processor, hence it makes sure that the devices get fair processor time. Okay, so depending on the priority levels or depending on the arrival time and depending on the time slice, which can be an equal sort of equal priority task vachinappudu kuda, it will perform a different scheduling algorithms. Okay, increasing the efficiency of the system. So what the purpose? The main purpose of processor management is to utilize the CPU time very efficiently. Okay, next function is file management. So here the file management is one of the another function that can be performed by an operating system. Okay, so a file system is normally organized into directories for easy navigation and usage. So these directories may contain files and other directions. Okay, so file management, what is the mean by file? Okay, so file means some information that is kept in the form of records. Okay, so the information which is kept in the form of records means a file may have a different types of records. Okay, so it will maintain a hierarchical representation. Okay, one example I can tell you that whenever you see in the mobiles, it is stored in the form of folders and files, right? Music files and different types of files are stored in one folder, or different types of files is stored in another files. Who told that to store in like that? Okay, so here the operating system is doing that arrangement is performed by an operating system. So it keeps tracks of information, location, users, status, etc. The collective facility are often known as file system. So all the files are arranged in an ordered manner. Okay, so ordered manner so that we can easily find the file immediately. So if we are searching for a particular file in the mobile or in a desktop or a laptop, tablet, any device, if you are searching a particular file, then quickly we can get that file. Okay, because it is arranged in an orderly manner. Whether it is arranged in the form of sizes, the file sizes in ascending or descending order, or alphabetical order, the files can be stored in ordered manner. Okay, so like that. So it is also keeps tracks of information, location, users and status also. What type of file it is, how much storage it is taking, okay, and the location where it has to store, okay, like that. All the facilities it will record. So decides who gets the resources. It is also decides who gets the resources. Means the file which we are storing, where it has to take. Means where we are storing the files means we are taking some memory locations. Okay, so it is interrelated with the memory. The files is stored inside the memory location. So the file where it has to store, the address of a memory, and it also allocates the resources, deallocates the resources. Okay, so you can see that the file system we can explain in a hierarchical manner. So in any device you can have this form, this structure we can see in any device. Like in computers also, the file management will be in the same manner, and the mobile phones also the file management in the same manner. Okay, so root directory, there will be a one root directory, and from that we can divide our directories. We can call it as a folders also. Okay, so within the folder you can save a different number of files, different file formats, or different directories, subdirectories also. Like that, in a hierarchical manner we can store the folder within the files within the folder, and subfolders like that. Okay, next important function is security. So a security management function is one of the operating system function of an operating system. It is one of the function. So the security management function helps in implementing mechanisms that secure and protect the computer system internally as well as externally. Not only it is providing the security for internal files, it is also providing the security for entire computer unit from the external part. Okay, so therefore an operating system is responsible for securing the system at two different levels, which are internal security and external security. Okay, so security, what is mean by security means it is protecting our information, our stored information. I can say that stored information. Okay, so the memory locations that cannot be accessed very easily by anyone. Okay, with the help of authentication or authorized users can access that stored information. It does not give access to unauthorized persons to alter the data. Okay, so actually the data was stored inside the storage location or the memory locations. So what happens means, if anyone can access the data, there is a chance of alterations can be happen onto the data. Okay, so what happens if the alterations done means, it will view a false information. Okay, and even there is no security of a sensitive informations also. Okay, so what it will do means, it is providing internal security as well as the external security by applying some sort of techniques. Okay, so there are two levels of two different levels, that is internal security. So what is internal security means? Internal security refers to the protection of activities of one process from the activities of another process. So here it is providing a security internally, means one process does not disturb the another process. Okay, if one process is getting changed, or if one process is getting updated, then it does not disturb the another process. Okay, the internal security of the computer system also ensures the reliability of the computer. It also ensures that reliability of the computer, reliability of the computer maintained by an operating system. Okay, there may be a number of processes running in the computer system concurrently. So we will take one example, multi-programming operating system is there. So what is mean by multi-programming operating system means, the number of processes can be executed within the same time. Okay, so we think that at the same moment I can open a number of applications. Like the live example, I have opened one recorded camera and one PPT. Okay, so both the applications I am using right now. So at the same time I can run more number of applications, that is called as a multi-programming operating system. So it gives accessibility, it gives the features that you can open a number of applications and you can run at the same moment. Okay, so at that moment what happens, all the processes are running at the same time, so it does not disturb one another. Okay, so concurrently it has to execute. So it is the responsibility of the operating system to make sure that only one process at a time has access to a particular resource of the computer system. So here it will make sure that the operating system, it will make sure that only one process can use the resource. Okay, so what it will do means, it will apply some scheduling process. Before itself I have discussed that the process management, like CPU scheduling. It will apply some scheduling techniques to run all these applications. Okay, to give the processor time to a particular application, it will apply some scheduling processes. Next, and also deals with user authentication, access control and cryptology mechanisms. So here number of mechanisms that can be applied to give the internal security. Okay, so mostly we will use user authentication. Everyone know that user authentication, if you want to use your mobile or if you want to log into your account, some bank account or some app account. Okay, so you got registered with that account, and if you want to open that, you have to log in by using your username and password. Okay, so that is called user authentication, and access control also. So anyone can't access the sensitive data. If the person is having a proper authorization, then only they can access the sensitive data. Okay, and cryptology mechanisms. Means here the message is encrypted. Cryptology mechanism means it will decode the actual message into the ciphertext. Okay, and once the sender means the receiver, sender send the message, while in between it reaches the receiver system, what it will happen means the actual message will converted into the ciphertext mode. Okay, so that is called encryption, and this ciphertext travels over the internet. Once it goes to the receiver machine, what it will do means it will decrypt the message. Okay, ciphertext form to the actual message. The receiver can read the actual message as it is. Okay, so this is called a cryptology mechanism. And external security. External security deals with securing computer against external factors such as fires, floods, earthquakes, stolen disk or tapes, etc. So here it is not only providing the internal security, means the processes execution, it is also providing the external security, like any damage will happen with our data. Okay, at that moment what we can do means, before itself we can take the backup of our sensitive information or our data. Okay, and using security guards, allowing access to sensitive information to only trusted employees or users. Okay, so here it is not only giving the internal security, it is also providing the external security by maintaining the backup. We can get the backup of our data by using some secondary storage devices like that. Okay, next. So what are the other important activities means? There are different number of functions. There are other functions that can be performed by an operating system. So here a few are there, like control over system performance. It has the control over the system performance also, like recording delays between request for a service and response from the system. So a user is working with the hardware means a user giving the request to the hardware to execute some process. Okay, and there is not only one job, there is number of jobs. Okay, in multi-programming operating systems there will be a number of jobs that can be executed at the same time. So recording delays between request for a service and response from the system. So here it is also keeping track of the request, whether the request is going to the concerned person or concerned device or a concerned part of the system or not. Okay, and once a response received from the system, it will what it will do means certain request must have a response from the system or vice versa. Okay, and job accounting. The next one is job accounting, keeping track of time and resources used by various jobs and users. So job accounting means what? Once the user created one job or one program has been executed given by the user to the system, from that moment the process, how much time it is taking to execute the process and how much memory it is taking, how much time processor time it is taking for the execution. Okay, so these all things can be recorded by the operating system. Okay, so that is called as a job accounting. And error detecting aids. So error detecting aids means what? So whenever in the process of executing some sort of processes, it may occur or it happens sometimes, like system crash or getting errors, file, we can't get the actual file from the memory. Sometimes it does not access the input output devices, like that. So it will show some sort of messages to the user whenever it can't perform any type of job. It will give the error messages to the user. So production of dumps, traces, error messages and other debugging and error detecting aids. It's also perform error detecting errors. It will also perform the debugging process. It can also diagnose. It will do the diagnostics. Whenever we are not getting connected to the internet, what it will do? It will diagnose what is the problem. Whether it can be solved by operating system itself, or it may require the external help. Okay, it will do like that. And the last function is coordinating between the other softwares and users. So it is sending the messages between the softwares and the users. So coordination means what? Different types of softwares that can run on this operating system. It is compatible with any type of software. So what it happens means, it is installing on top of this operating system any type of application softwares or system utilities. It is making them to install on top of the operating system so that they can run. So assignment of compilers, interpreters, assemblers and other software to the various users of the computer systems. So whenever the program is getting executed, there is a need of compilers or interpreters. Like most of the programming languages we used to execute, there is a need of compilers, interpreters and assemblers, like that. Okay, so what it will do means, whenever there is a required of compiler, it will call the inbuilt compiler or inbuilt interpreter for executing the programs. Okay, so this is my presentation on operating system and its functions. I hope this presentation is very helpful, and once again I just want to wind up with few points. So operating system, we from the definition we can wind up that it is creating an interface between the user and the hardware. It is most important software. Okay, any device, if the device used to work, then there is a need of an operating system. Whenever you are buying some devices, so what they do? Operating system, inbuilt operating, they will install the operating system, okay, in the device so that the device can work. Okay, so memory management. So different memory management techniques like paging, segmentation, partition, allocation, fragmentation and swapping. So one of the example I have taken in multi-programming processors. Multi-programming processor, if the task is required with any resource, then it will just swap that particular process into the disk, and it will give the memory used by that particular process. That memory can be assigned to the another process. In meantime it will allocate another process in the same memory. So when the resource is when the previous process is having the resource with that, it will shift that, means it will also once again it will swap that process from the disk to the main memory. So it will do all the swapping techniques, swapping in and swap out. So this technique is called as a swap in and swap out, like that. And partition allocations can be done in two ways, like single partition and multiple partition, and segmentation, paging, fragmentation, like that. So just a overview of functions and operating system I have discussed within this presentation. Okay, I hope all you have a knowledge on this, all all you got the minimum knowledge on what is an operating system and what types of functions that can be performed by an operating system. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. Thank you.